I was very intimidated to go there. So initially starting out, what was your experience going over there? And I know you slowly started spending more and more time, but what's it been like just being engulfed and surrounded by, Danaher and Henzo and Gary Tonin and, Gordon Ryan and Nicky Ryan and all these like top level studs that you're in there training with on a weekly basis? I'm sure that's got to be great mentally and physically, to maybe not every day, but
Yeah, yeah,
overall.
absolutely. So the first time I went to Henzo's was actually with Eric Sherman.
Oh,
Like this
cool.
is so Eric Sherman, was a Sarah. He was a brown belt at the time, but he was like kind of the first guy I remember that was like actively competing in jiu-jitsu and doing well, like from our school. Like I know he placed at the Worlds one year, and so he had he was from Long Island initially, and he moved into the city. So he was training at Henzo's, and this is like 2012. This is before Henzo's was what it is today in the sense of submission grappling. Like they didn't have like this big submission grappling team or this big like high level no-gi team that like they do now. It was more known for MMA. Like that's where GSP would be there, Frankie Edgar would be there, Chris Weidman was there. So Eric got me to come down a few times, and I had heard about John Danaher. He had taught a seminar at Sarah's, but that's when I first became like really aware of like how good of an instructor he was. I remember him teaching, like, and I didn't go a lot. I maybe went like half a dozen times over like a couple of years, from like 2012 to 2014. And I like still remember the lessons that he taught. Like he showed like a triangle defense that I still use that works really well. I was like, man, this guy like really knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like it was like so simply presented, but also so effective. It was just like I was like, wow, this guy's really good. And then like as the years went on, I didn't really go there. Like occasionally I would drop in because I knew Danaher was great, but and then like these guys like started emerging, like Eddie Cummings, Gary Tonin, like Gordon Ryan, and they were like doing these leg locks, and it was coming from him. And like I was like, man, like this is crazy. And I started studying it and trying to learn it, and I was like, they're so close. Like I just have to like I might as well go in here and train, right? Like it makes no sense not to do it. And so I started training there, and that was kind of like where they were coming up, but like Gordon hadn't won ADCC yet, so it was kind of I wasn't there at the very beginning, like before like anyone knew them, but it was kind of cool to like watch that progression of like these guys like Nicky. Like when I first went there, Nicky was like 15 years old. He's like a little kid. Like now he's like fucking 20 and jacked, and it's just cool to see like the progression of everybody, myself included. Nick Ronan, like Nick Ronan was a purple belt wearing like fucking basketball shorts to go train, and like now he's a fucking killer. And he was a killer then too. But it's just cool to see overall. Like obviously like being around those guys is awesome, but it was just cool to watch like how everybody has grown into like into like something way bigger than they used to be. So it's definitely awesome.